Okay. I'm not needed. Okay. Please do indicate present. I'm not seeing anybody connected yet. Okay, somebody's done, so I know that a human being is there. Okay, so please get connected so that we just segment and be off. Okay, so now we're looking at salivary secretion. Okay, we're looking at salivary secretion. Okay, but then colossally we're looking at the mouth, the pharynx, and the esophagus. So the mouth, pharynx, esophagus, we're looking at salivary secretion. Then we'll go to mastication. Then we'll go to deglutition. Okay, so because in the mouth, what happens? We have salivary secretion. We have mastication. Okay, and then we have swallowing that occurs in the pharynx and in the esophagus. Okay, so in the buccal cavity or the oral cavity, saliva is secreted and mastication of food takes place. Saliva is secreted and mastication takes place. What is mastication? Chewing. Okay, mastication is what? Mastication is chewing. Okay, so the mastication process breaks down large food particles into smaller pieces and mixes them with saliva to form a bolus. Okay, to form what? A suitable bolus, which can then be propelled back into the pharynx and then downwards through the esophagus through the process called what? Deglutition. Okay, deglutition. So in the buccal cavity or oral cavity, saliva is secreted and mastication of food takes place. Okay, so this segment we're looking about salivary secretion. Okay, so saliva is secreted and mastication takes place in the buccal cavity or in the oral cavity, and then the mastication process breaks down large food particles into smaller pieces and mixes them with saliva to form a suitable bolus. Okay, and this bolus is then propelled backwards into the pharynx and then downwards through the another word for deglutition is going. Okay, so let's look at salivary secretion. Okay, saliva is secreted by 3 pairs of salivary glands. So on both sides we have what? 3 pairs of salivary glands. Okay, so we have the parotid gland, we have the submandibular gland, and we have what? The sublingual glands. So you have the parotid, the sublingual, and then you have what? The sub. You have the parotid, the submandibular or the submaxillary, and you have what? The sublingual glands. Okay, and then you also have some glands that are present on the dorsum of the tongue. We call them what? The Eppner's glands. You have the Eppner's glands. Okay, these glands were described by what? By von Eppner. Okay, so call them what? The Eppner glands. Okay, the Eppner's glands. Trying to spell it. The Eppner's glands. Okay, they were described by a scientist called von Eppner. Okay, so we have, and then we also have the sublingual what, and the Eppner's glands. Okay, and each gland is formed by a group of acini. Okay, can you still remember acini? And their secretion is carried a duct into what? Into the oral cavity or to the buccal cavity, and the acini comprises 2 types of cells. The acini. So singular is what? So the acini comprises 2 types of cells. You have the serous cells, which secrete thin, watery saliva that is rich in alpha amylase. So you have the serous, the acini consists of 2 types of cells. We have the serous cells that secrete thin, watery saliva rich in what? Rich in the enzyme ptyalin or alpha amylase. Okay, it is rich in ptyalin or alpha amylase. Okay, then you have mucous cells. Okay, the mucous cells, this secrete thick, viscous, or viscid saliva that is rich in what? Mucin. Okay, so the acini has two types of cells. We have the serous cells and what? The mucous cells. So the mucous cells secrete a saliva that is thick and is rich in what? Is rich in what? Mucin. Okay, it's mucin. And what is mucin? Mucin is a glycoprotein. Mucin is a glycoprotein that forms mucus when dissolved in water. Okay, so mucin is what? A glycoprotein that forms mucus when dissolved in what? When dissolved in water. Okay, and so the parotid glands secrete about 20% of the total secretion. The parotid secretes about 20% of the total secretion, contains only serous acini. That means it only gives us water secretion that's rich in alpha amylase. And then the sublingual secrete 5%, and they only contain mucous acini. Okay, they only contain mucous acini. While the submandibular or the submaxillary secretes 70%, and it's mixed. They contain both types of acini. And the remaining 5% is secreted by the von Ebner's glands and the other smaller glands in the buccal cavity. So what are we talking about? We're talking about salivary secretion. Okay, and it's secreted from the salivary glands. And we have three pairs of salivary glands. We have the parotid, we have the submandibular, and we have the sublingual. And we also have the von Ebner's, as well as other glands. Okay, so we have, and these glands contain the acini. Okay, and so these acini have two types of cells. We have the serous cells and the mucous cells. Okay, the serous cells secrete a thin watery secretion rich in ptyalin, and then the mucous cells secrete a thick viscid secretion that is rich in what? Mucin. And I said mucin is what? Mucin is a glycoprotein. And I've also talked about the various contributions. The parotid contribute 20%, and it only contains serous acini. The sublingual contributes 5% and only contains mucus, while the submandibular contains mix and contributes 70%, and the remaining is from what? From the von Ebner's glands and the other small glands scattered in the buccal cavity. Okay, and let's look at nerve supply of salivary glands. Okay, nerve supply of salivary glands. See, remember the introduction we gave. Okay, and so let's start with the sympathetic nerves. Okay, these originate as preganglionic fibers of the upper two thoracic segments of the spinal cord. Okay, they originate as preganglionic fibers from the lateral horn cells, thoracolumbar outflow. So the nerves supplying the salivary glands arise from the lateral horn cells of the upper two thoracic segments of the spinal cord, and they relay where? They relay in the superior cervical ganglion. They relay in the superior cervical ganglion, from which noradrenergic postganglionic fibers arise and supply the glands, mainly the submandibular glands. Okay, they arise. The noradrenergic postganglionic fibers arise from the ganglion and supply what? And supply the glands, especially what? The submandibular glands. So what is the effect of sympathetic stimulation? Sympathetic stimulation brings about the following effects. One, a little secretion of thick saliva rich in what? Organic constituents, e.g. mucin and ptyalin, okay? So sympathetic stimulation will lead to what? A secretion, a little secretion of thick, viscous or viscous saliva rich in organic constituents, okay? What is the second thing sympathetic stimulation will do? Will cause vasoconstriction, blood vessels supplying what? The salivary glands. Okay, blood vessels supplying the salivary glands. What is the third thing? It will cause contraction of the myoepithelial cells that surround the acini. Okay, it will cause contraction of the myoepithelial cells that surround what? The acini. This facilitates what? Expulsion or squeezing out of the secreted saliva. And such effects are due to activation of alpha-1 and beta-2 adrenergic receptors in the salivary glands. Okay, such effects are due to what? Activation of alpha-1 and beta-2 receptors in the salivary glands. Okay, so sympathetic stimulation as a result of arises from lateral horn cells of the upper two thoracic segment of the spinal cord, and they relay in the superior cervical ganglion, and from there noradrenergic postganglionic fibers arise and supply the salivary glands, especially what the submandibular. Okay, and then I also mentioned that the effects of this stimulation, which we've listed like three of them. Okay, let's look at what happens to parasympathetic stimulation. Okay, so where do we have the parasympathetic nerves? Remember, the submandibular gland and the sublingual glands are supplied by a branch from the facial nerve called the coda tympani. Called the coda tympani. Coda tympani. Okay, so the submandibular and the sublingual glands are supplied by a branch from the facial nerve called what? The coda tympani, which originates from the superior salivatory nucleus in the lower part of the pons. Okay, so where does this arise? It arises from where? All of this facial nerve, it arises from what we call the facial nerve nucleus, which is present in the lower part of the pons called the superior salivatory nucleus. From the lower part of the pons, and it relays where? It relays in the submandibular ganglion. Okay, it relays from the submandibular ganglion, and then from this relay, postganglionic fibers arise and supply these two glands. Okay, remember we're talking about parasympathetic supply to the glands. The submandibular glands and the sublingual glands are supplied by a branch of the facial nerve. Facial nerve is cranial nerve 7, and it arises from where? From the lower part of the pons in an area called the superior salivatory nucleus. Okay, and it relays in the submandibular ganglion, and from there postganglionic fibers arise and supply what? These two glands. But on the other hand, the parotid gland is supplied by a branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve, also called the lesser petrosal nerve. Okay. Okay. The parotid gland is supplied by a branch from the glossopharyngeal nerve, which is cranial nerve 9, called what? The lesser petrosal nerve. Okay. The lesser petrosal nerve. Okay, which originates from the inferior salivatory nucleus. The inferior salivatory nucleus, upper part of the medulla. Okay, and this one relates where it relates in the submandibular ganglion. Okay, and I said from the coda tympani it supplies what? It supplies the submandibular and the sublingual glands, as well as what? The anterior 2/3 of the tongue. Okay, what is the effect of parasympathetic stimulation? First, profuse secretion of watery saliva, okay, with little content or with relatively low content of organic material. Okay, so we have profuse large amounts of watery saliva that is secreted. And what is the second function of parasympathetic stimulation? We have what? Marked vasodilation in the salivary glands. Okay, and such effect is due to what? Is due to release of vasoactive intestinal polypeptide. Okay. So the such effect is due to what? The release of vasoactive intestinal polypeptide. Okay. And stimulation of the superior and the inferior salivary nuclei does not only produce parasympathetic effect, but also produces sympathetic effects. Okay, because it has been found that there is discharge of sympathetic activity from the lateral horn cells of the upper two thoracic segments following stimulation of the inferior and the superior salivary nuclei. Okay. Any questions so far? I think I could go on, but then if I get on more, we may not be able to pick up. The next thing we would have been looking at is mechanism of salivary secretion, and then we'll look at composition and formation. Okay. So in any case, we may have to keep the class at this point, and we won't have the class on Friday. It's either tomorrow, Thursday, or Saturday, please. Okay. So you communicate with your class rep and let me have the information just a few minutes after this class. Okay, just consult among yourself. It's either we have it tomorrow, Thursday, or have it Saturday. Okay, I have a class with year 2 on Friday. Okay. The effect of parasympathetic stimulation, someone is asking that. The effect of parasympathetic stimulation is first profuse secretion of watery saliva, which is relatively low in organic content. And this effect is produced by acetylcholine. Okay? And then we also have marked vasodilation, okay, in the salivary nucleus, okay, in the salivary glands. So marked vasodilation in the salivary glands, and such effect is due to local vasoactive intestinal polypeptide, okay. And it has also been mentioned that bradykinin could be involved, okay. The lesser petrosal nerve is a branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve, okay. It's a branch of the glossopharyngeal nerve, cranial nerve 9, and arises from the inferior salivatory nucleus in the upper medulla, in the upper part of the medulla. While the cauda tympani is a branch of the facial nerve and arises from the superior salivatory nucleus in the lower part of the pons. Okay. Also, please just indicate quickly. Okay, let's agree on that. Let's just indicate quickly when we have the class, Saturday or Thursday. Okay. While if there are any questions we can ask, but then just quickly just do that. And you indicate if you're Saturday, you indicate if you're for tomorrow, Thursday, you can indicate. Okay. Without which we can even continue. And okay, lest I forget. Okay, I'm seeing many people are on Thursday, and it's fine. Okay, so lest I forget, we've had issues. Students have mentioned a few issues with me on studying and understanding a couple of things, and that is the reason I sent out a questionnaire on perception of the learning. It gives me statistical proof for me to mention the things I want to mention upcoming. Okay, I must have of information. Okay, try to fill the questionnaire so that you can be able to to do that. Okay. So please try to fill the questionnaire, and then it doesn't take up to 10 minutes. It's not even up to 10 minutes. You can fill the questionnaire. It now gives us I'm writing paper. I'm writing a paper, and I can only get factual information. I don't want to be sentimental about it, but I want to have information from the students. So please try to fill that. Okay. It's unfortunate that not up to 30 students from year 3 did fill that, and that was not the best. Okay, so I'll send the link again. So far 14 hours. Anything in the afternoon could be sometimes it's draining from here. It's draining, right? I understand that you have activity, but I just want us to we'll limit the class to two classes in a week. That's all. We just have 2 classes in a week, please. And from this, I am not also sure that I may be uploading some PowerPoints. Okay, so with that, you can also use Ganon to beef up the information, but there's a material I'm producing. I hope it sees the light of day very soon. So it will be a useful material for the study of physiology. Okay, so please be abreast. So Sibanda, I'll share the link again, please. I will. Thank you for that. So far so good. We've done a little bit of grading today. So try as much as you can to go through it. Before we meet tomorrow, you should have had an understanding of it. I won't pull down the video, but subsequently, the video will only be available to those who have subscribed. So please, maybe you do subscribe to the channel. So subsequently, I'm working on that. Only those who have subscribed will be able to have access. Okay. Somebody, Samuel, is asking, what of my book? Which of the books, Samuel? Whichever one, but then it's something is in the pipeline. I hope nobody vandalizes the pipeline. So what time tomorrow? I think at the same time, 10 hours is okay. Okay, 10 hours should be okay. And it will be just for 1 hour, 30 minutes at most 2 hours. Okay. Sometimes in trying to do some connections here, it disturbs me. So it's 10 hours tomorrow, please. I was Samuel. I wasn't selling books yet. Okay, I was planning to do. Okay, but I'm not in the process of selling any book anytime soon. But then a material will be coming out, which would be a little bit much more valuable than a book. Okay, but so far so good. Who is Tisa Firi? Please, if you have an opinion to mention, you suggest. Don't say not 10 hours. Okay, this is my class. You can organize yours and put your time. Okay, so for that reason, it's 10 hours. Okay, please. Okay, the class is 10 hours tomorrow. Okay, any other thing apart from the time? And if there are questions, please. I think the people that are subscribed that are online now, there are 109. And so somebody is mentioning we have an assignment that's due at 12 tomorrow. You can choose which one you do, please. You can choose to attend the class. It's not company, okay? It's not. And sorry, please, then let me just raise up another thing. Please don't go attacking lecturers to organize YouTube classes for you. What I'm doing is I love what I do. If there is any other thing, don't try to. Why can't other people do as this person is doing? No, please, that's not the best approach. Okay, I was informed about that, and that is not the best. Okay. Somebody was saying, so what about 14 hours? Okay, let's see how it goes. But then so far I'm thinking about 10 hours. But let's see how it goes. For example, for me to leave my home again and come here at 14 hours could get a little bit messy. But let's see how it goes. Okay, 12:30. Okay, let's we can make it at 12:30. Okay, let's 12:30. But to say 14, no, it's a little bit, it's huge. Okay, Okay, Lazarus, no, it's not in my duty to do that. Okay, it's not in my duty to do that. Okay. Oh, okay. So the class tomorrow is at 12:30. It's at 12:30. Please make sure you subscribe to the channel. Just click subscribe, and then if you have other questions related to our discussion, you can you can post it on the student forum on my web page. I could be able to get that. Someone is asking, can Guyton and Hall textbook be used as a source data? It's a very great book. Okay, it's actually this is the first time you can use Guyton. It's quite simplified, it's voluminous, but then it gives you the fundamentals. Okay. So please let's keep the class at 12:30. Please, I've shifted the goalpost for you out of consideration, so don't stretch it. Okay, so the class is at 12:30. And so far, so good. Merci.